Hello, everybody. We're back to normal somewhat for the time being with the camera. I finally stopped being lazy and, positioned it, and I took a little bit of a hiatus from the whole pencil drawing thing project anyway. But today's novel is going to be, well, it's actually a novella. It's called Seize the Day by Saul Bellow. And this would be my second Saul Bellow book. The first one would have been Herzog. I keep wanting to say Werner Herzog, but that I probably read about a couple years ago, give or take, and I liked it. I'm not sure exactly what to call Bellow. I'm kind of stuck on a name. Both of those kind of feature this and that and Seize the Day have at the forefront of the story this person, a middle-aged man who's like on the brink, who's marriage is in shambles, like in the case of Herzog, like his he was a professor, kind of high, emeritus professor guy that is divorced, and in this case of the novel, which I'll expound on further still, is he's on the brink of shambles, and his marriage is falling apart. And yeah, I'm not really sure. It does use a kind of narrative device that's similar to, say, Ulysses by James Joyce or any of the modernists. But I'm tempted to say modernist, like in the sense of Virginia Woolf has some novels like that, that either like a day in the life and then 10 years later, another day in the life type of thing, time where timelines are fractured. But that is what came to mind. But I don't want to, because the book came out in like the mid 50s, I think. I don't quite want to say postmodern because I don't see as many. It's a bit of that Nabokov thing. He's kind of hard to pin down so far. But yeah, it's about this man named Tommy Wilhelm. He's in his middle 40s. He's going through life. He's a bit at odds with what to do because he's, like I said, his marriage is broken, and he has two sons. And he's basically, it starts out with a flashback, actually, kind of not immediate res, but it starts with a flashback, and then he goes back to a day in the life. And I think it's a little bit confusing timeline-wise, but yeah, he's basically trying to meet with his father, and then there's the father figure is a big metaphor. I'm assuming it's a metaphor because it's so prevalent. This father of his that's very disappointed, and he's a doctor too. I think both are doctors, but this Tommy Wilhelm, he's gone to university. He's done the right thing. He's kind of I don't want to say he's an average Joe. He has he has calling. It feels like he wanted to become an actor, and he that was back when it was all hot. And then in the 40s or something, in the movie business, and everybody was like, yes, stars, you're gonna have star power. And there's this very hilarious character of the name of was it Tommy Vegas? I think it was Tommy Vegas. I think, yeah, this very showbiz type name, and he was like, "You're gonna make names like Reagan, or Eisenhower. Those are names that really stick with you. You gotta have a name like mine or something." And he's basically saying that like he turns people like you don't want to take the route of going to school and getting a medical degree and doing whatever, and like nobody knows your name after you can study away for 15 years of your life or whatever. But with me, like, you can be famous like overnight. So basically Tommy Wilhelm kind of falls for the pizzazz and the kind of but it basically turns out to be Tommy Vegas ends up being a con man. And Saul Bellow uses a lot of cons in his story. There's a lot of fraudulent people, good for nothing type, but some of them are a little bit more less overt than others. Like there's some that aren't totally using subterfuge every step of the way, but there's also this other character of Tampton, I think, Maurice Tampton, I think, and he's supposedly a doctor, psychologist, kind of, he's well versed in Freud and all the good things, but he's also, there's something about him that he uses like poetical language that doesn't really mean a lot, like it's all kind of style, no substance type of thing. And he kind of sees in him this promising person, whereas his father is very disappointed in him because he's like, "You've wasted your life, you're bankrupt." And that's kind of where we start out in the beginning of the novel. Tommy Wilhelm is at the end of his ropes. He's like begging for his father. He's like, I'm such a loon. I'm such an idiot. I'm married, and my marriage is failing, and I can't support my kids. And he's definitely under duress for all these people. And Yeah, you can kind of feel for him too, because he's not written off to be like the ultimate fool. He has some. He's like a holy fool, I guess. There's some, truth, and there's some, there's at least he's trying to figure out what's right, and and when he goes, I love how Saul Bellow uses the inner monologue to kind of, it's a third person narrator that's kind of omniscient, but you kind of get the view inside his head. Like, it's not like this thing where it's like dispassionate from him. It's kind of Dostoevsky. It's like, oh, Raskolnikov, he felt these exact same things. Like, he's like, delving deep into that. That's what you get with Tommy Wilhelm, is he really does, like, take a deep dive into that mind of his that's cluttered and chaotic, and he's like saying, like, like this Tampton guy's, I don't even know if he's a fraud or if he's real. Like, he dresses like, like he doesn't dress like he's nearly as rich as he says he is, or there's certain things that are ticking him off. And basically there's a lot of like will he or won't he type of, like will, and with Dr. Tamkin, like, it's never truly revealed if he is fraudulent or not. Like, he does have some, interesting life advice that he actually gives that actually works for Tommy. So, but then the most, I think, skeptical, of his things are probably his Wall Street type of thing. Like, he's trying to get, Tommy into stock brokerage, which he said will like somehow like reinvigorate his career, and basically his father's not having it, and it's like kind of back and forth thing. And I will just say, spoiler alert, because I actually wanted to give away the end, because kind of like at the end of something by Kafka, where the ending is like it's so like wacky, no, not in a bad way, but like it's so it's like da, 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 and then all of a sudden, like, the ending is just, it's like you kind of get like this back and forth, da, 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 and then all of a sudden the ending is just like I'm talking about the end of Trial, for example, where I don't want to give that away in here, but like it's so dramatic, and it makes up for all the time, in my opinion, of kind of these diversions and all kinds of different distractions that go on, and basically by the end of the novel you get this, here's a spoiler, he ends up at a funeral, Tommy does, and he's like, this is after this enraged, like this very volatile phone call with his wife, where he's like on edge, and he's just like, saying like, why did I even marry you, just like freaking out, and he ends up like hanging up on her, and then basically, he's like worried that he's never going to see his kids or family again, and he like runs into this funeral, and then he sees that Dr. Tamkin is there, and that he's trying to let this all out with him, but he accidentally, he's expecting his show to be like at one of those stockbroker type meetings or whatever, and but he actually stumbles in this funeral, and then he just starts wailing and letting everything out, and in this basically at the end of it, like, everybody at the funeral is like so confused that he would show that much emotion for somebody that he didn't know, and it's like a total stranger. So it's like, I just thought that was funny, the irony. I don't know if you call that tragic irony or something, where people have no clue what his entire life has been like, and this guy showing up and expressing so much grievances, so many tears for somebody where people deduce that he must have known him very, very well, the funeral of man in question. So and I actually like the way he ends this. I think the very last sentence is like, he reduces himself into a happy oblivion of tears, and I think that was a pretty cathartic way of ending the novel. So because I think it was something that was leading up, and yeah, so I definitely recommend Saul Bellow, Seize the Day. Looking forward to reading more. This, I felt it was like a good length, like it was a good novella length to get that across, because I felt like if I had it been like this huge James Joycean-esque novel that's like jam-packed with like, I don't know if it would have worked, because I think that brusque to the point few hour read was pretty conducive to me personally. That's just my thought, and I think that's it. So thank you for watching.